can Sean Mannion manufacture first downs when you have lesser talent and some of the things are in chaos, like penalties? Will he be able to move the sticks? Okay? Get this. See Prince already? Your wide receiving core are dudes. That's not deep just because you have guys. That's not a very good unit. You know what Prince and some of you other guys will try to manufacture this week? Munt, Hollywood Brown, Elijah Moore, Dontavian Wicks. They're like good. They're nobodies. They're dudes. Stop making them out to be great players. They're dudes. They're journeymen. They're nobodies. But you will swear this week, and you get this, and you make it seem like you have Dan Marino at quarterback. Or you have Patrick Mahomes. Are you crazy? Those guys are dudes. Hey, and by the way, I keep hearing people talking about the depth at edge. Epinenza and Epikady. Okay, well, what did they do for their teams? I must have missed that. I must have missed that, what those guys are going to do and what they did on their teams. I don't remember any of those players making an impact anywhere they were, like ever. I mean, I've never seen those guys do anything. That's deep. Okay? Hey, when you got a Dominican Sue and you've got people like Linville Joseph who have been star football players and they're not at the height of their careers and they come in for like playing a role, that's one thing. But when you're talking to me about Wicks, Elijah Moore, and Hollywood Brown, and Johnny Munt, those guys are nobodies. They're nobodies. What do you mean it's my take? Where in their careers have they been productive outside of Hollywood Brown in their early career? Holy cow. Anyway, I'm not debating it with idiots. I'll say this. The thing we need to find out still is situational play calling with Mannion. We didn't learn any of that. Organized joint team practices don't give you, okay? Don't have any situations. Nobody's game planning. There's no game planning in joint practices. They told you that. So, on Saturday, we're going to see Sean Mannion again. And Sean Mannion is going to be the guy in the bullseye for us to be able to take a look at. Let's see if that guy can scheme up plays this weekend. See how pumped you are about negativity of our team? What? Wanting to find out? Hold on. How many people would like to know if Sean Mannion is a good play caller or not? That's a negative? Hold on. Marshall, do you know what Sean Mannion is as a play caller? Now with me, with the same energy, if you bring back Reddick post AJ, what would that tell you about AJ's buddy? I got to tell you, man. I appreciate your super chat, but I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Does anybody in here know if Sean Mannion's a good play caller or not? Don't you want to find out? We had his first time. His first time. Now Sue has become a fucking mind reader. Pretty funny. Thanks, Sue. I have no idea what he's talking about. A zero. So wait. Mannion, the next McVay. Is that a theory? Or are you projecting that he'll be the next McVay? Is that it? Hey, bro. Triggered? I've done a sports talk show for 32 years. To say that I get triggered is very highly unlikely. You can't freaking read, Sills. Don't blame me on it. I don't know. Let me go back here. See how pumped you are about the negativity on our team. Because I said we didn't learn anything about Sean Mannion this week, that's negative. I disagree with you. Now, walk with me with the same energy if they bring back Reddick post AJ. What would that tell you about AJ's buddy? I don't know what you're talking about. You keep bringing up this fantasy sex act with these guys. I think it's bullshit. I disagree. We'll agree to disagree, Marsh. You can think of all of your little tiny BS things and all this. It's bullshit. I don't believe it. We'll agree to disagree. Thanks for supporting. What's the odds we land Sean McVay OC when Manning was legit one of the last dudes available to pick up? And if he's that good, what's McVay and Shanahan's first year look like? Dude, end of the day, Sean Mannion was one of the last selections at OC. I don't know if he's going to be good. Thanks, dude. All good. Me neither. I have no idea what you're talking about. None. Sills, Hurts did something at Alabama that will never happen again. He lost his job and stayed another year. NIL killed that. He is self-aware. Shouldn't he succeed in this new system? No, dude. They've never run that system before. He's never run it. He's never run a West Coast offense. There's several teams that have better wide receiving cores than we do. I think Washington has just as good a wide receiving core as you do. I'll tell you this, Stephon Diggs is better than any 2 or 3 you got in your team. You don't have a better number 2 than Stephon Diggs. Your one's better, I believe, than Terry McLaurin. But other than that, I don't believe you have. And I think McCaffrey is better than Lemon. Shit. Then again, I don't know if he's better than Lemon. I just know he's a football player. You're not better than Washington's wide receiving core. Based on what? Well, Smitty's better than Terry McLaurin. Well, Terry McLaurin has been a 1 his entire career. Smith has never been. But I will concede, I think he is a little better player. But after that, you don't have anybody better than what Washington has. You have nothing. I don't know about this one. They're okay, but Mike Evans on the back end of his career, I don't know what he has. Of course he's better. Hey, he is better. Lemon's got to get on the field, guy. Wait a minute. What are you basing that Lemon's better than McCaffrey? What are you basing that on? What? Projection? Is what you're basing that on? You're basing that on what? What are you basing it on? What are you basing it on? Let me see if Daz did that. If he followed that up. Dude, Stephon Diggs is better than Wicks. I'm sorry I missed McCaffrey winning Biletnikoff Award. I'm talking about a pro football player. Stop talking to me about college. That's in the rear view, guy. Based on what? Things he did in college? Well, shit. Then Jalen Reagor should have been a superstar. if we're basing things on college. Jordan Addison should be better than Jefferson. No? How do you know? Wait, Daz, answer the question. How do you know that Lemon will have any impact on your football team whatsoever? Who told you that? The 20th pick? Sills, we are at the end of August. Howie hasn't made a move yet. Any to come soon? I don't know. I think we'll see roster cuts. This guy here has no answers. That most idiotic take in JAKIB sports history. You must be new here. Here is 5 more to fame. Congrats, idiot. Well, I'm not sure what you're talking about. You really believe that Makai Lemon is better than any NFL wide receiver right now when the guy hasn't even stepped on the football field? Let's see the impact he has this year on your offense. I don't think high. How about this? I'll make a prediction here. I bet you Hollywood Brown has a better year than Makai Lemon. You want to put money on that? Let's see by the end of the year if he has more numbers than Hollywood Brown. Makai Lemon's injury has benefited Elijah Moore and Hollywood Brown because of him not being out there. Got to be on the field, bro. Cowboys' number 3 wide receiver is better than the Eagles. The Eagles don't have a number 2. Sills, that wasn't for you, bro. Thank you, Marsh. Thank you, bro. I'd be shocked if the Eagles don't draft or sign a wide receiver next season, even if Lemon is a 7-yard receiver. Hey, dude, Bird, if Makai Lemon is a 700-yard wide receiver, that's a downgrade at the position to what you've had the last 4 years. If that guy turns out to be a really good player, that's a downgrade. Do you understand how high a level of players that you've had the last 4 years at that position? It's not that Lemon will be a bad player. To sit there and think that he's going to give you the same production that you've had with a quarterback who's not very good in the pocket is insanity. And you think you're going to do it with Dontavian Wicks. Dontavian Wicks' ability next to Devontae and AJ, one's a 10, the other's a 6. The drop-off in ability, let alone production, is almost 50%. It's not that Wicks is going to be a bad player. He's just not that player. It's common sense. So, I mean, to sit there and think that you're going to be in that conversation is pretty crazy. I mean, those guys are dudes, man. And I'm not going to sit here and talk about dudes. So, Saturday, the number one thing I want to see this weekend, I want to see Sean Mannion, game 2, play calling, and get people in position, at least to get first downs. Correct. That's why I think Howie draft or signs another wideout. Smitty is about to be 28 years old. He's getting older. He needs another elite wideout. We're on pace for the worst wide receiving core in the NFC East. I think the Giants are right there, but I mean, I don't think your wide receiving core is very good. I mean, without Devontae Smith, that thing's not very good. Seals, what do you think of Philly possibly bringing back Hassan Reddick on a cheap 1-year deal because of Gennard's injury? I think that all is going to come down to whether or not Vic Fangio thinks that's a good idea. And by the way, if they sign another edge rusher, that'll tell you all you need to know about the current edge rushing room. Well, where are you going to go with Reddick if you bring him back? Why would you? If you think you're deep there, you don't need to touch the room. Oh, because of Gennard's injury? Okay, maybe. I believe that Josh Grizzard was pretty good at situational play calling. I didn't think he was bad. Do you have any insight on Grizzard working with Mannion? I think that's a great hire. In all theory. I do, Bob. I didn't have a problem with Josh Grizzard last year in Tampa. I had a problem with Todd Bowles in Tampa. All right, Sills. And chat, I'm going to get back to work. I spent all my lunch money. Salute. Y'all be blessed. Marsh, we love you, man. And thank you very much for everything you do, man. Means a lot. Marsh, thank you, bro. I don't even think Howie thinks that. It was the reason he took the approach of being deeper at the position rather than finding one replacement. Hey, dude, just because I get where you're going with that, but just because you put 5 guys in the room doesn't mean you're effective. I kind of get it, but so wait, you're not as talented, but you got less talented guys. I don't know. Well, you all want this season, sacks and 3-and-outs or turnovers. You're poisoning the volume of throws about to go up. Get ready. That's a great take. Why is that take important with Sean Mannion's new offense and what we're going to be watching this weekend? Okay? Why is that important? That's a great take. Let me tell you what you've hit on here, Chosen. That defense has to get off the field early in the year, because if they have a higher increase in volume of passes, there's more likely for 3-and-outs. Okay? There's more likely. See, don't go by this. Prince thinks because you have more decent dudes, that's depth. That's not depth. Just because I volume size the position doesn't mean you're talented at the position. Last 2 years, you were A at wideout when you walked on with your 22. Now, you're C. Quinyon Mitchell has some interceptions this year. I happen to agree with that. I do. You're not going to have a talented player like that not have it in-game and in-season interception. And I wouldn't be shocked if Quinyon Mitchell has a haul this year. But remember something. It's harder to get interceptions in zones for corners. Do you guys understand that? I don't think that I really explain that. When you're in a too-high safety and you play zone, it's tougher to get INTs. That's set up for the safeties to have interceptions and a high volume of interceptions because of the middle of the field. You understand that, right? So when your corners in a too-high safety zone, you're not going to have high volume interceptions and high volume turnovers out there. You're going to have them in the middle of the field where your safeties are. You're free and strong in your nickel because you're trying to get all the traffic to come back inside off the numbers. You guys do understand that, right? So when you see Q not having high volume, like Surtain or like Stingley, those guys are man press covers. They're going to have more opportunity at single individual opportunities at getting interceptions. When you play in a two-high safety like that, that's not designed for that. It's designed to keep everything underneath and not get beat deep. Do you understand that, right? I'm also curious to see how fast the plays come in. That's another one. Getting the plays in, getting it in the rhythm. That's right. I want to see Sean Mannion. manufacture a drive. He didn't last week. Sills, being deeper at wide receiver only matters if we use all three that are on the field. If Jalen Hurts can't get to wide receiver 3, then drop off at the position is huge. Yeah, and I'm assuming that that's going to be one of the cosmetic changes this year in the offensive approach is that they're going to try to spread the ball around. Well, get this. That means you're going to be talking about higher volume of turnovers or higher volume of turnover plays. It's common sense. Hurts looked damn good. Hurts did not look damn good yesterday. The passing game actually in New England hasn't looked good all those 2 days. Stop with that. How could it look good without Smitty or without Lemon? And he had 5 picks. Guys running wrong routes. Hurts not having receivers fight for the football. Hurts overthrowing. How could you have a good day? How could you have a good day? Now, working on things is different than performing. That's ridiculous, man. Nobody in their right mind said that the Eagles had a good day throwing the ball the last 2 days. On both sides. That's ridiculous. Sills, I would sign Reddick because besides Hunt and Grenard, next up is Nolan. He needs to prove himself. Well, then you're not, if we're looking at another edge, that means you don't have the confidence in those 2 dudes that you think are depth. I wasn't looking at edge. I don't think they need to sign a guy. I think wide receiver 3 is going to be Lemon for the future. I think with Smitty and another wideout 1 would be a nasty combo, assuming Lemon is who we drafted him to be. That would be an upgrade for the slot in the X. Okay. Well, that's fortune teller stuff, but I think you're right. And I think that's what Howie's trying to look at here. I'd rather high risk, high reward approach than prevent offense. Prevent offense is what killed us last year, and AJ was talking about it all year. Defense was on the field more because we aimed to punt. Listen here, SS. Tom Brady loved the punt. There's nothing wrong with punting. And you have a good one. Get this, SS. How many field-changing players do you have on your football field right now? You have a defense that could change field position, and you have a punter that could change field position. You have those 2 combos, a great punter and a great defense, you're going to keep your offense as it's getting more mature on the field and in games. I think having a great punter is important when you have a top-flight defense. You don't have a top-flight defense and a shitty punter, you might as well be looking for the 2027 NFL draft. Special teams, the first 10 years of Brady's career, Adam Vinatieri, the punting, the defense. Tom Brady won Super Bowls kicking field goals, not scoring touchdown drives. That first Super Bowl, they beat the Rams. They beat them with a last-second field goal from Vinatieri from 50. Truth is, somewhere in the middle with all this, free pass to AJ's disinterest last year. No. Once again, I said that I was disappointed having seen AJ. By the way, we got a topic on that today too. Okay? His energy these last 2 days, it's disappointing. It must be for Eagle fans because he didn't have that same energy in the 49er game. I just repeated myself for an idiot Eagle fan. If Hurts plays like he did in 23, coupled with this defense, would he take the trade-off of the turnovers? Mind you, he will be more than 10 turnovers. He had 15 that year, and he had, I think, 6 fumbles. So he had something like 21 turnovers in 17 ball games. What's that got to do with your defense? What does that have to do with your defense? 21 turnovers in 17 games. Did you ever think that the offense put the defense that wasn't very good in bad field position with all those turnovers? If you knew you had a bad defense and it was running out of gas like it did in 23, why are you throwing the ball? Your running game in 23 wasn't that bad. As a matter of fact, what was the Eagle running game in 2023? What was it ranked? Eagles 2023 running game. Offensive rushing attack. Let me see here. 2023. Here we go. What were they ranked at 23 rushing? So the Eagles are ranked 8th running the ball. Why didn't you run the ball? You were ranked 8th. You had a better running attack than you did a year ago. Why didn't you run the ball that year? You had turnovers, massive turnovers, 21 of them in 17 games. Why didn't you go to run the ball? You had the 8th best rushing attack. If your defense is that bad, keep your defense on the sidelines. Why'd you have to throw it? Sounds to me like the coordinator didn't know what the hell he was doing. Or someone. Best part of my offense in 23 was running the ball, and they didn't do it. And they decided to throw the ball at higher volume. That makes no sense. I have a bad defense. My passing game has turnovers in it, but my run game is 8th. I go away from my run game? That's situational play calling. Hurt struggle versus zone coverage because they was behind the sticks. The defense wasn't good, but they got worse with the turnovers. Well, why didn't you run the ball? You're one of the top rushing attacks in football that year. You were top 10. And you decide not to run the ball? Hey, let's throw more picks. With a shitty defense on the other side. Who made that call? Now that AJ's gone, the rumor is Reddick could have a Hassan Reddick? You don't need Hassan Reddick. Seals, you misread that, bro. He's saying take the offensive production minus the turnovers. Okay. With this defense would be fine. I think if they were better situationally, though, in 23, Prince, I think you'd have less turnovers. Okay, run the ball. You were 8th. Why'd you throw it more? And, like you said, with the defense of today, with that offense, better play calling, yeah, that 23 offense would probably be very effective. Why did you have Hurts throw the ball in 23, though, when you were 8th in rushing? That makes no sense. And by the way, I'm not blaming that on Jalen. I'm blaming that on the coaching staff. So you're 8th. Your defense is not good. The kid's turning the ball over more in the air. Run the ball. I mean, common sense. You won 11 ball games that year. And by the way, like I said, when you're 8th in rushing, you own the clock. You own field position. Why are you throwing it? You decide to throw. That's the most attempts he threw. Okay? I think we need to focus on staying healthy, perfecting the run game. Barkley fit. I don't know if 1,500 yards is going to be enough, dude. Not with that pass. A decent passing game, okay. Yeah. Bird Gang, you don't have to be great. You've never been throwing the ball. You just have to be decent. If you get this, think about this, Bird. In 24, you were exceptional at rushing. You were god-awful at throwing. And everyone kept saying, well, that was because we were so good at running the ball. That's not true. You still were bad throwing it. You weren't. Well, the only reason we didn't throw the ball is because we were really great running the ball. You were still bad as a passing team. It doesn't change that. I mean, it's not changing that. Barkley Dam, 30 years old. He's going to put up big numbers. Why? Derrick Henry does. Shields, we don't have edge depth. I don't see what everyone else sees. Well, no. Here's what John McMullen sees. And I don't know. Now, I will agree to a Xander comment. You don't have to have superstar ball players behind. Hey, and by the way, so Moro Ajomo's not going to be in the base defense? I keep hearing John say he's a backup. So when they start their defense against the Commanders, Moro Ajomo's going to be on the bench? For Nolan Smith? And you're going to be in that front? You'd rather have Nolan Smith on the field in that front and have Ajomo on the sidelines? I keep hearing McMullen say that Moro Ajomo's a backup. Well, what base look are you going to be in when you start the ball game? He's going to be on the bench? And you're going to go with what? You're going to go with Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, and you're going to go to 2 tackles? Or what? I heard John say it all morning. Moro Ajomo's, he's not going to be in the base defense? Because when you're talking about depth, if you're saying Moro Ajomo's not going to be, so wait, Moro Ajomo's on the bench in base? Is that what you're saying? I didn't know that. Moro Ajomo is on the bench when they go out there on 1st and 2nd down. Hold on. I'm looking at the depth chart right now. I don't see him on the bench. Hold on. So Moro Ajomo is on the bench. And Nolan Smith is going to be in the starting lineup because you're going to go to a different defense and have Ajomo on the bench, and he's going to come in as your rotating tackle? That's not what this depth chart's saying. I mean, unless you guys have a completely different depth chart. Okay. Yes, Sills. Moro's a DT, not an edge rusher. He's going to give. Okay, so I was always under the impression when I saw base, I saw Ajomo out there. Huh. That guy's not a $25 million player. A rotating $25 million player? Whoever fucking told you that? So the way I'm looking at the depth chart right now, they got Carter at left defensive end. They got Davis at nose. They got Ajomo at right defensive end. They got Nolan Smith at will. And they've got Jonathan Grenard at the Sam. That's the depth chart I'm looking at. And that's the starting 34. That's the starting 34 that they're going to play with Bond and Campbell in the middle. Woolen, Mitchell at the corners, Epps and Makuba with Cooper in the nickel. So you guys are in here telling me you think that Ajomo's on the bench in base. Wow. Okay. Johnny Mac never mentioned base. He was referring to each position group. So wait, Prince, is Moro Ajomo a starter or not? You can't count him as depth. And then when you want to use it as depth, you call him depth. So is he on the bench or is he a starter? Prince, I'm not screaming at you here. I'm just asking. Do you think, Prince, so is he depth or starter? I'm looking at the depth chart that the Eagles sent over. I don't see him. Hold on. Dude, that's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the Philadelphia Eagle depth chart. Go to their website. He's a starter. If he's a starter guy, he's not depth. Those are the folks behind you. This guy doesn't even know what depth is. Holy cow. Limited football brain cells. So, wait. Hold on here. Okay, let's do this and let's go basic here. Okay? Let's go basic. And here is the updated depth chart. Here's the updated depth chart for the defense. Edge is Nolan Smith. DT is Jalen Carter. DT is Jordan Davis. And they've got Moro Ajomo. And they got Jalix Hunt on the other side. That is the updated as of August 21st. That's your front 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there. You're playing a 5 front. What are you guys talking about Moro Ajomo being a bench guy? Dude, this is off their fucking website. It shouldn't be that hard. It's normal numbnuts can see this. I mean, I've been on depth charts. I know how to read a depth chart. Wait till you're right. We will have 5 down linemen on early downs. I just looked at some film. Early down. Right. Moro Ajomo's not depth. He's a starter. Okay, he's not depth. Moro Ajomo's a starting front defensive lineman for you. Dude, how can this be stubbornness when it's on your website and it's a posted, updated depth chart? Wait, how am I wrong? Moro Ajomo starts. He's not a backup. We're moving on.